Across the ancient world, monumental structures rose above cities and landscapes, shaped by belief, power, and human skill. These towers were not only built to be seen, but to endure. Their remains still speak quietly of the civilizations that created them. Today we're counting down the 15 tallest ancient towers. These structures were not only functional, but symbolized the might and prosperity of the cultures that built them. As we delve into the history and significance of these towers, we uncover stories of ambition, skill, and innovation. Let's begin with number 15, the Minaret of Jamgor, Province, Afghanistan. The Minaret of Jam, which is in the remote Ghor province of Afghanistan, is one of the country's most impressive historical and archaeological treasures. Standing at around 213 feet, or about 65 meters tall, the 12th century minaret is the second tallest brick minaret in the world. It was originally built around the year 1190 during the reign of the Ghurid dynasty, a powerful empire that controlled much of present-day Afghanistan, Iran, and northern India. The Ghurids were known for their love of art and architecture, and the Minaret of Jam is a perfect example of this. Built by Sultan Ghiyath al-Din Muhammad, it was likely intended to commemorate a significant victory or to serve as a marker for a grand mosque or a city that has since vanished. Made of fired bricks and adorned with stucco and glazed tiles, its surface is covered with detailed geometric patterns, Chific inscriptions, and verses from the Quran. It's located in a narrow valley at a confluence of the Hararid and Jamrid rivers. It's this that has helped preserve it over the centuries, but also makes its ongoing conservation a bit challenging. The region is prone to natural disasters, such as floods and earthquakes, which do threaten the stability of the structure. But, in an attempt to help protect it, it was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2002. Efforts include stabilizing the foundation, repairing erosion damage, and preventing any illegal excavations in the surrounding area. Number 14. Tikal Temple 4, Tilak, Guatemala. Tikal Temple 4, which is the largest structure in the ancient Mayan city of Tikal in northern Guatemala, is one of the most impressive and significant buildings from the pre-Columbian Americas. Reaching a height of around 230 feet or 70 meters, it's one of the tallest structures ever built by the Maya civilization. Temple 4, also known as the Temple of the Two-Headed Serpent, was built around 741 AD during the reign of one of Tikal's most powerful rulers, and it was likely designed to commemorate a significant military victory or to honor the ruler himself. The temple has steeply sloping sides and a large roof chamber at the top, which serve as a sanctuary or a temple space. The temple's design includes intricate carvings and sculptures, although many of these have been eroded or lost over time. The exterior would have originally been covered with brightly painted stucco, but these were some of the first elements to be lost. One of the most amazing aspects of Temple 4 is the view from its summit. Visitors who climb to the top find themselves looking out across the surrounding jungle and other towering structures of Tikal. The sight of the misty rainforest canopy stretching endlessly in all directions, with the tops of other ancient pyramids peeking through, is an amazing experience that connects you with the ancient Maya world. During the height of Tikal's influence, the temple would have been a crucial part of the ceremonial and political landscape of the city, serving as a focal point for religious rituals and a symbol of the city's power. Today, it's part of the Tikal National Forest, a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1979. Number 13. The Pyramid of the Sun, Teotihuacan, Mexico. The spectacular Pyramid of the Sun is the standout structure of the ancient city of Teotihuacan in present-day Mexico. Standing at around 213 feet or about 65 meters tall, it's the largest pyramid in Teotihuacan and one of the largest in the world. It's believed to have been built around 200 AD, and to this day it continues to captivate anyone who stands in its shadow. Teotihuacan, which means the place where the gods were created in Nahuatl, was one of the largest and most influential cities in ancient Mesoamerica. At its peak around 450 AD, the city was home to an estimated 125,000 people, making it one of the largest cities in the world at that time. The Pyramid of the Sun was a central feature of this sprawling metropolis, positioned along the main street that passes through the center. Built primarily of adobe bricks covered with a layer of stone, the pyramid was constructed in several stages. The precise alignment of the pyramid with the compass points and its position relative to other major structures suggests that astronomical and cosmological events did play a significant role in its design. The purpose of the Pyramid of the Sun remains unknown, though it's widely believed to have been a religious and ceremonial center, possibly dedicated to a god associated with the sun. The pyramid's orientation and the discovery of various artifacts, including pottery and obsidian tools, show that it was a site of ritual activity with a series of tunnels and caves beneath the pyramid, further suggesting its importance in the religious life of Teotihuacan, possibly representing the underworld. Number 12. Lighthouse Pagoda, China. The Lighthouse Pagoda, also known as the Kaiyuan Temple Pagoda, is a stunning historical landmark located in Dingxiu in the Hebei province of China. This ancient pagoda was built in 1055 AD during the Northern Song dynasty, and it was originally part of a huge Buddhist temple complex. The pagoda was built under the direction of the Buddhist monk Taichung, who aimed to create that would serve both as a religious monument and a military watchtower. This dual purpose is reflected in the pagoda's name, Laodi, which means watching for enemies. At a height of 276 feet or 84 meters, it's the tallest surviving pre-modern Chinese pagoda. Its height and sturdy construction were possible with the use of brick and stone, materials that have also allowed it to survive for almost 1,000 years and numerous natural disasters. Its architectural style combines both Tang and Song dynasty elements, with a base that's solid and massive, providing a stable foundation. Inside, there's a magnificent spiraling staircase that allows guests to climb all the way to the top, where they can enjoy panoramic views of the surrounding countryside. This height and location made it an excellent vantage point for observing enemy movements, a feature that was really useful during the times of the Song dynasty, and that's partly why it's been preserved so well. Over the centuries, it's also undergone various restorations to retain its structural integrity and historical significance, and today, it's a popular tourist destination. Number 11. Etemenanki, Babylon, Iraq. Etemenanki was a significant ziggurat, or a type of temple tower, that was dedicated to Marduk, the chief god of Babylon, and was located in the ancient city that was in present-day Iraq. It was built during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar II in the 6th century BCE, and with a name that translates to mean House of the Foundation of Heaven and Earth, it was one of the most impressive structures in the city. Having been built on the ruins of an earlier ziggurat, which itself had a long history stretching back to the early dynastic period of Mesopotamia, it was a stepped pyramid made of mud brick, with each successive layer smaller than the one below, finally reaching a temple at the summit. Etemenanki stood around 300 feet, or about 91 meters tall, which made it one of the tallest man-made structures of the ancient world. Its base measured around 300 feet, or 91 meters long on each side, and was constructed with 7 distinct tiers, each painted in different colors corresponding to different celestial bodies and gods. The ziggurat would have played a central role in Babylonian religious life. The temple at the top, accessible by a series of ramps or staircases, housed a shrine where rituals and ceremonies were conducted. These rituals were to ensure the prosperity and protection of the city. The ziggurat's construction also had a significant astronomical implication, as its alignment and design are believed to have reflected the Babylonian understanding of the cosmos. Despite its importance, it faced numerous challenges over the centuries. The ziggurat suffered damage and decay due to natural disasters and the passage of time, and it was eventually abandoned and fell into ruin. By the time of and although Alexander ordered its restoration, that never happened. Today, all that remains of one of the greatest towers in history are the ruins of its foundation, and through its ancient texts that we know so much about it and how impressive it once was, with someone thinking it was the inspiration for the story of the Tower of Babel. Number 10. Ruamalseya, Sri Lanka. Ruamalseya, which is in Sri Lanka, is one of the most revered and architecturally important stupas in the Buddhist world. Built by King Ditchujemunu in the 2nd century BCE, its name, Ruamalseya, translates to mean the stupa of the sacred sand. It is, of course, a sacred site that holds a profound significance for Buddhists, as it enshrines relics of the Buddha. According to historical records, the king, who reigned from 161 to 137 BCE, began the construction of it after successfully unifying Sri Lanka and establishing Buddhism as the state religion. It was a monumental task for the time, involving thousands of laborers and artisans. Originally, it was around 180 feet or about 55 meters tall, but subsequent restorations have seen it almost double in size to reach a height of 302 feet or 92 meters. The base is a circular terrace surrounded by a wall that's decorated with hundreds of elephant figures, symbolizing strength and stability, and above this base it tapers into a dome, which represents the vastness of the universe. The spire at the top is crowned with a pinnacle, which in this case is a large gem and symbolizes enlightenment. The white plastered surface of a stupa, which glistens under the Sri Lankan sun, creates an ethereal atmosphere, and it's surrounded by a large courtyard which houses smaller stupas, statues, and a series of stone carvings. Even today, it remains a focal point for Buddhist pilgrimages, especially during the annual Pusan Poya festival, which commemorates the introduction of Buddhism to Sri Lanka. Thousands travel here to pay homage, meditate, and participate in religious ceremonies, reaffirming their faith and connection to the island's Buddhist heritage. Number 9. The East 7-story Pagoda at Todaiji, Nara, Japan. The East 7-story Pagoda at Todaiji is one of the most impressive examples of ancient Japanese architecture and Buddhist religious structures. Todaiji, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is a sprawling temple complex that was founded in the 8th century during the Nara period, and it served as the head of the temple of the Keigon school of Buddhism, with the East 7-story pagoda being a standout structure in the complex. It was commissioned by Emperor Shomu and completed in 752 AD. It was intended to serve as both a center for Buddhist worship and a symbol of imperial power and unity. The construction of it was part of a grand vision, and this towering pagoda, originally standing at a height of over 328 feet, or 100 meters, was among the tallest wooden structures in the world at the time. Its design followed traditional Japanese Buddhist architectural principles, with influences from Chinese and Korean styles. Each of the 7 stories featured sloping eaves and intricate wooden joinery, but the design was now just an aesthetic one, as it had a deep symbolic meaning. The 7 stories represented the 7 factors of enlightenment in Buddhism: mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. The pagoda's main purpose was religious, of course, and it was used to house sacred Buddhist relics. Pilgrims and monks would visit the pagoda to pay respects to these relics and seek spiritual merit and enlightenment. Its height also symbolized the ascension towards enlightenment, drawing the eyes of devotees upwards towards the heavens. Unfortunately, though, the original East 7-story pagoda is no longer there today after being destroyed by a series of natural disasters, including earthquakes and fires which were common in the region. Despite its destruction, though, historical records and illustrations have provided valuable insights into just how impressive it was, and while the temple complex itself has undergone numerous reconstructions, the East 7-story pagoda hasn't yet been rebuilt. Number 8. Shuasando Pagoda, Myanmar. The Shuasando Pagoda, which is in the ancient city of Bagan in Myanmar, is one of the most historically important Buddhist stupas in the region. Bagan, which was the capital city of the pagan kingdom from the 9th to the 13th centuries, has more than 2,000 temples and pagodas, making it one of the world's richest archaeological sites. It's the Shuasando Pagoda, though, which is also known as the Sunset Pagoda, which became the most revered, mainly due to its vantage point for viewing sunsets. The construction of the pagoda dates back to 1057 AD, during the reign of King Anuradha, who was credited with establishing the Theravada Buddhism in Myanmar. According to records and local legends, the king built the pagoda to enshrine sacred hair relics of the Buddha, which he had obtained from the Tun, a Mon kingdom in Lower Myanmar. The name Shuasando translates to mean golden hair relic, showing its significance as a sacred reliquary. Architecturally speaking, the pagoda is a prime example of Bagan's distinctive style, with a symmetrical design and terrace structure. It reaches a maximum height of 328 feet, or 100 meters. It's made up of a series of 5 receding terraces topped by a cylindrical stupa. The terraces of the pagoda offer amazing views of the Bagan Plain, dotted with countless other stupas and temples, especially during the early morning and evening when the sky's colors provide a dramatic backdrop to the ancient ruins. Today, Shuasando Pagoda continues as a site of religious importance, like it has done for almost 1,000 years, standing as a beacon of Myanmar's Buddhist traditions. Number 7. The Red Pyramid, Dashur, Egypt. Built during the reign of Pharaoh Sneferu around 4,600 years ago, the Red Pyramid was the first successful attempt at constructing a true, smooth-sided pyramid, marking a significant milestone in the evolution of pyramid construction. Sneferu, the founder of the 4th dynasty of Egypt, commissioned it after his earlier attempts, the medium pyramid and the bent pyramid, encountered structural issues. The Red Pyramid, also known as the North Pyramid, owes its name to the reddish hue of the limestone blocks that were used in its construction. And at a height of 344 feet or 105 meters, it was the tallest structure in the world at the time of its completion and remains the 3rd largest pyramid in Egypt. What's most important about the Red Pyramid, though, is its architectural design. Unlike its predecessors, which had either a stepped or a bent structure due to changes in angle during construction, the Red Pyramid was designed and built with a consistent angle of 43 degrees. This marked a transition point from the stepped pyramids of the earlier dynasties to the smooth-sided pyramids that would become the iconic symbols of ancient Egypt. Building it required meticulous planning and a huge amount of work. Estimates suggest that the pyramid took 17 years to complete and is made up of 60 million cubic feet of stone, with each block weighing several tons. The reddish limestone was quarried locally, with the finer Tura limestone used for the outer casing that was transported from the quarries across the Nile. Over the centuries, much of the outer casing has been stripped away, revealing the red core stones that give the pyramid its name, although locally it's instead known as the Bat Pyramid. As it isn't visited by as many people as other sites in Egypt, it's possible to explore the Red Pyramid in ways that you can't elsewhere. Visitors can access the interior through a corridor that leads to 2 antechambers and a final chamber which shows the incredible imagery and construction techniques from so long ago. Number 6. Pharos Lighthouse, Alexandria, Egypt. The Pharos Lighthouse, also known as the Lighthouse of Alexandria, was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Constructed in the 3rd century BCE on the small island of Pharos, near the entrance to the busy harbor of Alexandria, this lighthouse served as a warning for sailors navigating the treacherous waters, and it became an enduring symbol of the city. Commissioned by Ptolemy I Soter, the founder of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, and completed during the reign of his son, Ptolemy II Philadelphus, the Pharos Lighthouse was designed by the Greek architect Sostratus of Cnidus. It took around 12 years to finish, and it's believed to have been in operation by 280 BCE. The lighthouse was built using large blocks of light-colored stone, primarily limestone and granite, which helped reflect the sunlight during the day. Standing at a claimed height of between 330 and 430 feet, or about 100 to 130 meters, the Pharos Lighthouse was one of the tallest man-made structures of its time. It had a design that was both functional and aesthetic, featuring 3 tiers, a square base, a middle octagonal section, and a cylindrical top. Each tier reduced in size, creating a tapering effect that added to the stability and appeal. At the summit was a large, polished bronze mirror that reflected sunlight during the day, acting as a beacon for ships. At night, a fire was lit and the mirror directed the light out to sea. This innovative use of light made the Pharos Lighthouse the first known lighthouse in history to employ such technology and significantly improve maritime safety, as well as establishing Alexandria's reputation as a center of learning and culture. The lighthouse also featured a statue of Zeus or Poseidon at its peak, symbolizing its role as a protector of sailors, and the interior of the lighthouse included a spiral ramp that allowed workers to carry fuel to the top for the nightly fire. It, of course, didn't survive until modern times. Earthquakes in 956, 1303, and 1323 severely damaged the structure, ultimately leading to its collapse, and by the 14th century, the lighthouse had turned to ruins. Modern archaeological efforts, particularly underwater explorations, have managed to uncover remnants of the lighthouse in the waters around Pharos Island, providing valuable insights into its construction and design. And today, on the original site of the structure is the Kuwait-based citadel, which was built in the 15th century using some of the original stones from the lighthouse. Number 5. Kanishk Stupa, Pakistan. The Kanishk Stupa, which is near the ancient city of Peshawar in modern-day Pakistan, is one of the most impressive monuments from the Kushan Empire and an important relic of Buddhist history. Built during the reign of Emperor Kanishk the Great, who ruled from the year 127 to 150, the stupa was designed to house relics of the Buddha. According to historical accounts, including those by Chinese pilgrims, the Kanishk stupa was massive, standing around 394 feet or 120 meters tall. Its design reflected the architectural style and influences of the time, with a large square platform as its base, which supported a cylindrical dome topped by a series of smaller terraces. The dome was crowned with a harmika, which is a form of square railing that in turn supported a multi-tiered spire. The structure was decorated with elaborate carvings, statues, and reliefs depicting various scenes from the Buddha's life and teachings. After completion, it soon became a major center for Buddhist pilgrimage and learning. It housed numerous relics of the Buddha, which attracted pilgrims, and those relics included a famous casket believed to contain the ashes of the Buddha, which was discovered during archaeological excavations in the early 20th century. This casket, known as the Kanishk casket, is a stunning example of Kushan art, intricately covered with scenes depicting the Buddha and various bodhisattvas. Quite what happened to the Kanishk stupa isn't entirely clear. It seems to have fallen into disrepair and was eventually destroyed, likely due to a natural disaster and human activities. By the time the Chinese pilgrims visited in the 7th century, the stupa was already a ruin, and today it's an important archaeological site to learn more about the Kushan Empire. Number 4. Jetavana Ramaya, Sri Lanka. Jetavana Ramaya, which is in the sacred city of Anuradhapura in Sri Lanka, became the largest stupa in the world when it was completed, reaching a height of 400 feet or 122 meters at its peak. Although now, it's not that tall, reaching a height of 233 feet or about 71 meters. Work on it began under the order of the king, who reigned from the years 276 to 303. It was built on the site of a monastery established by Mahinda, the Buddhist monk credited with introducing Buddhism to Sri Lanka in the 3rd century BCE. Its purpose was to house a relic of the Buddha, specifically a part of his belt, making it an important site for Buddhist pilgrimage and devotion. It sits on a broad circular base which is approximately 21 acres in area, making it one of the largest brick structures in the world. The dome, originally topped by a spire, which has since been lost, was built using millions of baked bricks, which would have required a huge workforce to make possible. These bricks were then held together with a specially formulated clay mortar, which has ensured its stability. Historical records suggest that the stupa took about 15 years to complete. The project not only reflected the religious devotion of the king and his people, but also the kingdom's engineering abilities. It's thought that as many as 93 million bricks were used in total, and they're all virtually identical to one another. As well as being a religious center, it became a focal point for learning and monastic life. The surrounding complex included various facilities for monks, such as living quarters, meditation halls, and libraries, with the stupa stood at the center. Today, it's still a major attraction for pilgrims and tourists, and it's a fascinating look into the ancient culture that once thrived in the country. Number 3. The Yongning Pagoda, China. The Yongning Pagoda in Luoyang, China is one of the most stunning and tallest pagodas in ancient China. Its construction began in the year 516 during the Northern Wei dynasty, under the instruction of Emperors Dowager Hu. While it's no longer there today, historical accounts and findings detail just how magnificent and significant it really was. As part of the Yongning Temple, a major Buddhist complex here, it was one of the most important centers for Buddhism in China during the Northern Wei period. The empress wanted the temple and its pagoda to promote the religion and demonstrate her commitment to it, so it was built as a symbol of the Buddhist faith and as a means to house sacred relics, including what were believed to be the remains of the Buddha. Standing at an estimated 450 feet or 137 meters, the Yongning Pagoda was the tallest wooden pagoda ever built in China. Its height made it a prominent landmark, visible for miles around, and it was considered an architectural masterpiece of its time. It made use of a combination of wood and brick, with wooden beams supporting the structure and brick serving as the exterior. This design featured multiple tiers, each decorated with elaborate wooden carvings and Buddhist iconography. Historical texts describe it as having 9 stories, each progressively smaller than the one below, and the eaves of which were elegantly curved, which is a common feature of traditional Chinese architecture. The Yongning Pagoda soon became a symbol of the Northern Wei dynasty's power and cultural achievements and became a cultural hub, but unfortunately, it wouldn't remain standing for even 20 years. It was destroyed by a fire in 534 AD, and to this day, it's not clear what the cause of that tragedy was. There's no doubt, though, that its destruction marked the loss of one of China's greatest architectural and religious treasures, and one that influenced the design of pagodas and religious structures in China and across East Asia. Number 2. The Great Pyramid and the Pyramid of Khafre in Giza, Egypt. Of all the tallest ancient structures, the ones that remain some of the most recognizable in the world are, of course, the Great Pyramid and the Pyramid of Khafre, which are the dominant features on the Giza Plateau near Cairo in Egypt. These pyramids are a part of a larger complex that includes the Pyramid of Menkaure and the Great Sphinx. They're usually the first things that come to mind when thinking of the ancient Egyptians. The Great Pyramid, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu or Cheops, is the largest and most famous of all. It was constructed during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu around 4,500 years ago. It's the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and the only one still mostly intact. Originally standing at over 480 feet or 146 meters, the Great Pyramid was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. The construction of the monument was a marvel of engineering and the organization of a workforce. It's believed that around 2.3 million blocks of limestone and granite, each weighing an average of 2.5 to 15 tons, were used. These stones were quarried locally and transported to the site using a combination of sledges, ramps, and possibly lubricated with water to reduce friction. The precise methods of how this was done do remain a topic of debate, but the pyramid's alignment with the compass points and its nearly perfect geometry continue to impress researchers and visitors. The interior of the Great Pyramid is just as impressive as it houses 3 main that we know of: the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and the Grand Gallery. There are, though, suspicions that there may be more to discover there, and research continues into other parts of the structure that could hide even more secrets. The Pyramid of Khafre, as it's not quite as tall, isn't talked about as much, but is in many ways just as amazing. Built for Khufu's son, Pharaoh Khafre, the second largest pyramid in the world, it actually appears taller than the Great Pyramid because it was built at a higher elevation on the plateau, but it stands just slightly shorter than its neighbor at 448 feet or 136 meters. Originally, both of the pyramids would have been covered in smooth casing stones, and while they've completely gone from the Great Pyramid now, you can still see a portion of them today on the pyramid at Khafre at its apex, giving an idea of how they would have originally looked. Number 1. The Lincoln Cathedral, the United Kingdom. For thousands of years, the pyramids in Egypt held the record for being the tallest structure in the world, but this would eventually be broken by the completion of Lincoln Cathedral, which is officially known as the Cathedral Church of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Lincoln in the city of Lincoln in the UK. The site was initially founded in 1072, when by Bishop Remigius de Fécamp. Following the Norman conquest of England, and after first being built in the Romanesque style, it underwent significant changes over the centuries. After a fire in 1124 and an earthquake in 1185, which caused considerable damage, Bishop Hugh of Avalon commenced a major reconstruction in 1192, and it was this work that introduced the Gothic style that dominates the cathedral's appearance. Lincoln Cathedral is known for its advanced architectural approach at the time, such as the ribbed vaulting in the nave and the choir, which was an early and influential example of this type Gothic element. The use of pointed arches and flying buttresses allowed for higher ceilings and larger windows, creating a majestic and light-filled interior that many would go on to copy. To top it, though, was the central tower, which was constructed in the 14th century, and once featured a wooden spire that reached a height of 520 feet, or over 160 meters, making the cathedral the tallest building in the world from 1311 until the spire collapsed in 1548. Even without the spire, the cathedral remains an imposing structure, with the central tower standing at 271 feet or 83 meters. Still, even without the spire, there's a lot that remains interesting about the place. The west front, for example, still combines elements from different periods. The lower part is largely Romanesque, while the upper sections are decorated with Gothic sculptures and tracery. The facade's great west door is flanked by two massive towers, making this feel like a truly special place. The inside is no different, with the nave and its soaring columns and detailed vaulting leading to the choir where the famous Lincoln imp can be found. This small stone carving of a mischievous imp is one of the building's most famous legends and has become a symbol of the city. The Angel Choir, which was added in the 13th century, is another highlight, featuring stunning stained glass windows, particularly the Great East Window, which dates from the 14th century and depicts scenes from the Bible. The choir stalls also showcase the craftsmanship of medieval woodworkers. It's fitting, then, that Lincoln Cathedral has played a significant role in English history. It was one of the main centers for the administration of justice in medieval England, and it housed one of the 4 surviving original copies of the Magna Carta, which is now displayed in Lincoln Castle. Time has altered these structures, but it has not erased their meaning. What survives, in stone, ruins, and records, reflects the ambition of the people who built them. Through these towers, the ancient world continues to leave its mark on ours.